This was a very weird episode. Alright, welcome back to Project Red review episode number 13. Who knows how much longer basically this is going to last for. Could be another 10 episodes, given the stuff I've heard about this one. So in this particular one, we have where Kiki is just, well, they're just doing, she and her friend basically are doing stuff, and then he goes get some food, then she's an emigrant, and she's a woman who identifies herself as Renko. When I heard the name Renko, I'm like, there's only one person mental heroes I can think of with the name Renko. That was from Jam Person, believe it or not. Yes, but the name itself, it just by sheer coincidence. But there is a nod to of all shows, Jiraiya in this one. I'll get to that. So, and then Jiraiya just is randomly on Luminous's Earth. Yes. And runs into Kona. And, looking for this soft grass. Yeah, he does explain about the end of the episode. If he eats this thing, he doesn't have to eat for a whole week. I'm like, seriously, you eat mint, you eat one thing of mint, and you're good for a whole week. I'm like, how in the world is that possible? Who knows? Yeah, and of course, let's do a hawk take this up, jump up in the air, race to an office building, which that scene was a nod to the opening sequence of Jiraiya, which Jiraiya did do that. He never did in the main show. Nope, you never see him go through an office building. I think at one point he climbed on an office building, but he never actually went through a window. I don't think so. I think he did like one episode he did early on, but afterwards, not really. So, alright, so pretty much basically, so Renko possessing Kiko to get this. So pretty much basically it's like, oh, let's buy some clothes. And then we stop at this restaurant where she thinks that, her friend may have forgotten a promise. And then Kiki does math and does the estimation of how much time passes by, how long it takes for the orbital completion of the planet. For the case of the full spin, for the Earth, it's 365 days, which is 1 year for us. In the case of this planet, it was for 39,000 days, which means basically 1 year for them is 100 years for us. And then she gets covered by this Emergear with this weird monster show up. One point, Jiraiya goes giant size, which the scene itself reminds me of something from Jiraiya, where he basically takes command of a mech and fights basically a few giant monsters running in that show. Yeah. And then, of course, they defeat the monsters by having turned the mini version of the dragon doll they have into a vacuum cleaner. Suck the monsters up and then go through the monster and then blow them up. And then they kind of reunite, close, and then they have this really interesting ending where we have a callback to the first episode with that sequence where you have the 5 Gavins fighting this fleet of Maku ships, which basically the chief, the one who's the commander, he's basically, it's his premonition. I'm like, wow, we call back to something that, like, oh, that was a really cool sequence. Like, are we going to finally come? Yeah, we had to wait 12 episodes after this happened to finally for this to acknowledge. I'm like, why? It was by far one of the most confusing things. Yeah, but otherwise though, not much to say with this one. And I'm going to have to call it a night because I was going to do more of more. Basically, I'm pretty much caught up with all my stuff. So basically, I would head back to watching 01, but I'm gonna watch it tomorrow. Yep. So that is pretty much it for today's video. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, to notifications. So I'll see you tomorrow with pretty much just 01 Comic Corners. See you next video. Bye.